let's go to the panel and see what Nora and the others think about tonight. Nora O'Donnell now leads the panel. Nora.
Chris and Keith, thank you. And we all sat here and watched very closely Michelle Obama's speech. And let me start with you, Gene. Your impressions?
Well, you know, Nora, listening to that speech, I had to think about, I thought of my wife, and I thought of my mother, I thought of my sister, and I thought that this is an entirely new role to see a black woman in America. Yeah. And so I have to admit that I felt a lot of pride in seeing her in that role. I thought it was a very good speech. I thought it was a very well-delivered speech. I noted that it wasn't just about demonstrating, as if it had to be demonstrated, that she's a loyal American. But there was a strong economic component to that speech as well. You know, she talked about people who had to work the day shift and then turn around and work the night shift without disappointment and without regret. As you know, she could have said without bitterness.
Didn't take a job on Wall Street.
Right.
Didn't take a job on Wall Street. Left a law firm.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, nor did she. She didn't take the big law firm job either. But it was, you know, it was clearly pitched at ordinary Americans, at working class Americans, and the substance of the speech, in addition to I am Michelle Obama, I am not the caricature you might think I am.
Right.
The substance of the speech was economics. I feel your pain.
You guys, we've all been together through a lot of this primary process. Pat, I remember very clearly the night when Michelle Obama made the comments, and we discussed when she said, this is the first time I've been really proud of my country. The lead of the Associated Press piece tonight about Michelle Obama's speech is, Michelle Obama declared, I love this country. There are some people who needed to be reassured that Michelle Obama is a patriot. Did she reach that tonight, those people?
I thought it was a very effective speech and an affecting speech. And it was clearly crafted to go right after the hardening impressions that are very negative about her. I mean, she's been charged, she and Barack, with being elitist. She put herself in working class roots. She's an angry militant. She came off as a smiling mom. She's someone who's not proud of her country. I love my country. That's the question. I think Harold Ford adds, you're going to have to wait and see if she did. Let me say this. She obviously moved some people. We don't know now how many she moved, how many voters she did, and how she dispelled that impression that the Republicans, grabbing on things that she and Barack have done and said, have been building that impression. I think it was effective. I thought terrifically effective was when that little girl walking away yelled, Daddy! I don't care. I don't believe that was scripted.
So what you're saying is that Michelle Obama didn't move any voters, but maybe Sasha or Malia did.
That was, I don't know who you are. You have to cheer. That's like Teddy Kennedy.
Yeah.
I mean, you might have been against him for a long time, but you got to be delighted to see the old lion up there and still able to deliver a speech. I think it worked. I don't know how far. I'll tell you what I did not think worked too much was after this very effective personal moment, if you will, she goes into the liberal litany. Now, that's all very good for the audience there. And that's it right there. Even that guy didn't like it.
What about that, Rachel? We talked a lot about how big, how important this night is. Michelle Obama has to humanize her husband. Yeah. She has to make this the Huxtables, that we share the values, that just like every other American working class family. Did she convince those people tonight?
You know, I think she did. This tells you what a better person Gene is than I am, because Gene is thinking about his mother and his wife watching this speech. I was thinking about Pat watching this speech, because I was actually thinking in all seriousness, and I wouldn't plan on talking about this, but I was thinking about 1992 when I was 19 years old, and Pat, that was the year of your famous culture war speech at the Houston convention. Right. Yeah. And when Bill Clinton got elected that year, I remember, as not a very political person, feeling a visceral sense that, you know, I like the idea of the Clinton family being around for the next 4 years. I like the idea of them being on TV all the time, in the news all the time, them just being around because they seem likable, and more importantly, I think that they don't hate me. I think if they knew me, they wouldn't hate me, and that they don't want an America that doesn't want me in it. I believe that they would respect me. And after the 92 convention that year, I didn't feel that way about the incumbent president or his party.
Well, you're going to see a lot more of the Clintons, I think, in the next 2 nights, Rachel.
Sure, we'll see that in the next 2 nights. But it's an important part of what makes a family likable, right? In this context, it's not just any family, it's a political family. They're not auditioning to be your neighbor. They're auditioning to be in the White House for 4 years. And part of it is whether they respect other Americans, whether they like the rest of us, whether they know where we come from.
There was no discussion about John McCain in this speech, but she did mention Hillary Clinton.
Well, listen,
and gave praise to Hillary Clinton for breaking those 18 million cracks in the glass ceiling as she did. Did she do something to help pull over those Hillary Clinton supporters?
Well, as soon as she mentioned Hillary Clinton, the place exploded.
Yeah.
I think there's no other two words in that whole speech, the place exploded. I think it was a very wise thing to do, smart thing to do, but it clearly shows there's an enormous Hillary Clinton constituency in that hall.
Or there's a lot of respect for Hillary Clinton among Obama's supporters. That's the other way, the reason it could have exploded.
The other thing she didn't mention in the entire speech is race. She didn't talk about race. I don't think she
Why
mentioned
did
it
she
once.
not mention race?
Because that has been the tenor of the entire
And she
Obama
also
campaign.
did not
it's not to run a campaign that is overtly about race. That is about race, really, to run a campaign as a candidate
she doesn't want to mention
black
that,
rather than as a black
You notice
candidate.
she didn't bring up the Christian religion. No religion mentioned. I was surprised. I mean, where was the Christianity or, Barack and I?
There's a lot of God bless.
You take a look, it wasn't in there.
But this was the family values speech. This is the get to know our family. We understand America. We are Americans. We have lived the American dream. We respect it, and we understand you as much as you understand us. We are part of this country.
Pat made a remark earlier about this being a scripted speech, but you could not script what happened at the end of that speech when the two girls came out and grabbed the mic and the youngest one kept saying, "Daddy, Daddy," as you pointed out. It sort of really put the cherry on the sundae.
Even us post-rational people were taken by that moment.
No, you're pre-rational.
Post-rational. All right, Chris and Keith, back to you.